What is going on, Governors? Chisgule here, and today we're going to talk about the legendary Yi Seong-Gye. That's right, we're going to do a full commander guide, giving you everything you need to know about this commander. If you like commander guides, you should totally like and subscribe, because we've got a bunch of these coming, and we're going to cover literally every single new commander when they come out, as well as all the commanders we already have. So if you're into that, please do like and subscribe, and we are a sponsored creator for Rise of Civilizations. Now, with that said, when we do a commander guide, there's a couple things that we talk about. First, we read every single skill. And yes, we read them because even I often misread them the first time I get a look at them. Then, with that fresh understanding of the skills, we're going to take a look at all of the talents for this commander so that we can get a sense of what talent trees we might choose and why. From there, we'll talk about how you can unlock this commander, and then we'll talk about my favorite part, which is the pairings. So with that said, what does Yi Seong-Gye do? Well, this is a archer, garrison, and skill tree commander, and these skills are as follows. First skill deals direct damage with a max damage factor of 1,400 to the enemy in a fan-shaped area, damaging up to 5 targets. Wow! That is some serious damage to a serious number of targets. Next up is a passive skill. Archers or troops' normal attacks have a 10% chance to grant additional 50 rage and increase the attack of archer units by a max of 100. And I guess it's a max of 100 rage. 50 is the base. This is amazing. Rage restoration, huge damage. I mean, this commander is clearly all about fielding archers and doing a ton of damage with them. Next up is a passive garrison skill, which increases the attack of the garrison and the watchtower by 10% when this commander is serving as a garrison commander. So when they're defending your city, you get your watchtower damage boosted and the damage of everyone else boosted. Pretty strong. Next up is Destiny, increasing active skill damage by 50%. Yeah. Wow. The expertise skill makes it so that your active skill does an additional 300 damage factor, and it takes it so that instead of having a fan-shaped area attack, you now have a circular area. I would be really eager to see this in action and see the situations where it's better, but look, the increased damage is excellent, and I'll take it. So with all of that said, this points us in some clear directions. We want to build this commander to do lots of damage. We want to bring lots of archers because archers' attack is going to get boosted. That said, you really don't have to have archers to do good work with this commander. Some archers, but not all. And so we'll talk about some things you could do that maybe seem a little bit unconventional. So let's get a look at the talents, and to do that, we're not going to look at Yi Seong-Gye. We're going to look at a commander that is the exact same trees. So it's the archer tree, the garrison tree, and the skill tree. I don't have them unlocked yet, so I can't actually show you his talents, but they should be identical to our good friend Kusunoki. Archer, garrison skill, archer, garrison skill. Exactly the same. So let's get a look at these talents, and there's a couple interesting directions you can go. If you're building Yi Seong-Gye to be in the garrison, I would do something similar to what I have done here with Kusunoki. I might make my way very rapidly over to pick up Rejuvenate after I have maxed out the skill, or rather the garrison tree, and you are headed to an exceptional garrison defense. Now, if you are bringing a mixed army, and again, I don't know that I would advocate for that if you're using Yi Seong-Gye, but if you were bringing a mixed army for open field combat, you could use the skill tree maxed, first picking up Rejuvenate, then making your way over to Feral Nature, and the reason you would do this is to get crazy amounts of Rage Restoration. And from there, you could start to supplement things with the archer tree. You could make your way up to Venomous Sting because along the way, there's some really good movement speed, and that is crucial for open field combat. You could alternatively make your way over to Razor Sharp for additional rage restoration. If you were to be building this commander for open field combat, high DPS unit, and to be focused specifically on archers, so you're going to field a full archer army. What I would do is I would first make my way over to Venomous Sting to get that march speed as I was describing. You could pick up Razor Sharp ultimately on your way to then move over and get Phoenix Tail Arrows, which at this point you must have a full archer army to get benefit. And lastly, picking up Whistling Arrows. Again, you must have full archers. From there, I would very rapidly make my way to Burning Blood for the Rage Restoration, and then Rejuvenate for the additional huge amounts of Rage Restoration. Now, it's worth mentioning that one of the advantages of using an army that has a dedicated type of unit is that each of these middle points tends to be a little bit stronger in a unit-specific talent tree. So you can see here, this is giving 1% per point, but only to archers, whereas each of these is giving half a percentage point per point that you put into these talents that are in between the big ones. So with that said, I like full archers. I like the skill tree even if you are using full archers. And I also really like the garrison tree if you're doing garrison defense. This commander would be amazing against a swarm style attack against your city. I've got a bunch of videos about that. We'll have card up in the top if you want to see a little more detail about that. Now, with that said, where do you unlock Yi Seong-Gye? There's only a couple places you can get him. He will show up after a long amount of time, and my kingdom's like at least 90 days old at this point, and we still haven't had a wheel event that allows you to pick up Yi Seong-Gye. That's right, the Wheel of Fortune is where Yi Seong-Gye will show up on most kingdoms. Yi Seong-Gye is also in the gold chests of kingdoms, I believe 31 and under. So if you're doing a jumper account, and I've got a bunch of jumper guides, I'll have a card up in the top if you want to check that out. You could start in a kingdom that has Yi Seong-Gye in the gold chests. You could try to go through a bunch of gold keys to unlock him in that kingdom before ultimately making jumps to your middle kingdom and then final destination. That is where you can unlock Yi Seong-Gye, and then from there you can use your universal sculptures that apply to any legendary commander to skill him up further. Now, the pairings with Yi Seong-Gye are really interesting. I want to start by talking about archer pairings. Archer pairings are the natural fit for Yi Seong-Gye, and there are some really good ones here. First up is El Cid, and yeah, these two would be insane together. These two would be insane together. El Cid does a bunch of archer-related stuff, including movement speed. And what does Yi Seong-Gye and El Cid need? They need that movement speed. Why? Because they don't do a lot to protect themselves. They do huge amounts of damage, and if they become the target of enemy attacks, you should be running the other way. You want to have other tankier units take the brunt of the damage so that you can make highly strategic, high damage assaults onto your enemies. And this configuration, although Yi Seong-Gye has a lot of area of effect damage, is more in the direction of single target effects. Now, contrast that a little bit to, I'll say, a lesser version of El Cid, which would be Herman. Herman is also disruptive, also giving a fair amount of march speed, which is very, very crucial, and I think they would make a fine pairing. Herman has the exact same talent trees as Yi Seong-Gye, so you're likely to be using Herman as the primary in this configuration, so you don't have to level up your legendary quite as much. As a reminder to folks, the skills of both your primary and secondary commander apply, but you only get the troop capacity and the talents from your primary commander. And a epic commander takes way less experience to level up than a legendary. It also takes only epic stars, which are a lot easier to obtain than those legendary stars. Now, a pairing that I think would be excellent for AOE madness, that's area of effect madness, would be Kusunoki with Yi Seong-Gye. You bring full archers, and that is a crazy amount of area of effect damage. You are literally raining hell down on people, and man, that seems really powerful. There are some alternatives here for commanders that don't care about what type of troop you have. So, for instance, you could pair with Boudica, use her as the primary, Yi Seong-Gye as the secondary, and I know I recommend her in almost every video. That's because she's a generalist. She's good at a lot of things, doesn't do any of them like insanely well, but is very versatile. You could pair her with Yi Seong-Gye, and I think that would be a great pairing. You could potentially use CPO, although I actually would not recommend this pairing because Yi Seong-Gye boosts the skill damage of the primary commander, and there is no skill damage on CPO. So conceptually, it would have been interesting, but I would say actually it's not all that compelling. For the same reason, I think Joan of Arc is only just okay. You really want a primary commander that's doing skill damage. So, with that said, I really would be focused on these archer commanders for open field combat with Yi Seong-Gye. Let's talk for a second about garrison combat, because really in the garrison front, you could pair with just about any commander that is a garrison commander. Why is that? Um, you're going to have a lot of different types of armies in your city when you're defending it. So you don't care as much about having just like one specific type of unit or using two commanders that both focus on one same type of unit. Any of these garrison commanders paired together, I think, will be really strong. But if you are concerned about a swarm defense, I have to say that Sun Tzu with Yi Seong-Gye seems like the ultimate anti-swarm counter. You're going to hit many, many armies. You're going to do a ton of damage. I assume that ever-changing tactics stacks with Yi Seong-Gye's fourth skill, Destiny. So that's a 70% damage boost. Oh my goodness. I think those pairings would be quite exceptional. Now, if you wanted to go the route of saying, you know what, I know this second skill boosts archers, but I'm not going to bring all archers, I'm going to bring some archers, which is the thing you could do. You could do this. Um, I think you could open yourself up to some other interesting pairings. For instance, you could bring a full mixed army and rock Hannibal Barca for open field combat, and you're making much more of an AOE style unit. And I think that could be really quite strong, actually. Hannibal Barca would be the primary in this case. He lowers the defense of your targets. He also does some area of effect. And then, boom, you hit him with your AOE from Yi Seong-Gye. Yeah, that's the kind of smash you want to bring to the battlefield. I originally thought Frederick would have been totally insane, and while I think he's an okay pairing, while I do think he's an okay pairing, unfortunately, this skill Barbarossa does not trigger for every single unit that's hit by the area of effect attack, which means this combo would have been absolutely insane, but instead I think it's fine. I think it's fine, I think it's good, but I don't think it's out of this world. And again, you could bring all archers in this configuration, but you could also bring some amount of mixed troops, and you wouldn't be hurting too much for bringing that mixed group. Now, this is where you start to get a little bit punished for bringing the same type of unit, but you could bring Richard I to have a slightly more tanky unit. So a little bit more sustain. You are reducing the damage of your enemies. You're slowing them down, which is really important, and then you're doing a lot of damage. I don't love this combination because it's not boosted by the fourth skill of Yi Seong-Gye, and for that same reason, I think that if the fourth skill of Yi Seong-Gye isn't boosting the damage from Barbarossa, then this is a bit of a stretch as well. Now, I think those are the pairings that I would recommend. I mean, there's some other edgy stuff you could do here. Like, you could use Julius Caesar as the primary, but once again, you're not really benefiting as much from the fourth skill on Yi Seong-Gye. You really want two commanders that do tons of damage to be paired together. All right, my friends. I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover about Yi Seong-Gye. I guess, well, actually, one last thing that's very important. When you're applying the skills to Yi Seong-Gye, you want to max the first skill. Then, I think you want to max the second skill. Then, assuming you want to use them for open field combat and garrison, I would level them up to 4 stars and then apply further skills so that you split them across these two and hopefully more of them land on Destiny. That would be my recommendation for Skill in the Sky Up. So my friends, I hope you found this video helpful. If you're using Yi Seong-Gye and you really like him, let me know in the comments. I'd be eager to hear that. And if this was helpful, please do like and subscribe. I'm a relatively new content creator, so that means a lot. And until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.